Hello! Today is a glorious day. I didn't think I would be recording this video so soon. I think a lot of you have probably already seen my most recent video, but in case not, I'll quickly recap. I started a job at an MMO game dev company about 2 months ago, and with this came a non-compete agreement disallowing me from working on RetroMMO at all for at least 1 year. I thought there was no chance of me being able to touch RetroMMO anytime soon, but a miraculous turn of events has changed this. My employer reached out to me with a proposal recently. They would be okay with me working on RetroMMO as long as I met one condition. I must approach the game in a way that could not possibly have it be considered a competitor of my employer's product. A pretty reasonable request, I feel. When I first heard this, I was as confused as you probably are right now. How can I make an MMO game without it being a competitor to other MMOs? But the answer was actually simple. My employer informed me that I may still work on RetroMMO as long as I make the game worse. Plain and simple. Lower quality across the board. If the game is bad enough that it could not possibly be considered a competitor in the MMO space, then it's acceptable for me to keep it going. I, of course, had no issue with this. I mean, after all, it's not like I was making RetroMMO out of any form of personal drive or passion. Frankly, the quality of the game doesn't concern me at all. I consider myself somewhat of a Team Vash-like. Clout and money first and foremost. Other benefits are negligible. I mean, purely extra. I first got this news about 2 weeks ago, and I've been hard at work since that very moment. I was really excited. So, yeah, please take a moment to give a look at what I have come up with so far for, I guess what you could call a wish.com RetroMMO, so to speak. Yeah, I really hope I did the prompt justice. Let's take a look. So, right out the gates, once you log into the game, you'll notice that instead of having 3 classes, there's 5 classes, which is just, yeah, extremely cringe. That's just too many classes. You probably only want to have 3, not 5. Another thing that you can also notice just from the very start is that over here, if you look at the UI on the right, it just looks strictly worse. It just doesn't look good. But also the buttons don't even do anything. Like if you click on them, they actually don't have functionality. They just make a horrible noise, which I'll demonstrate now. So yeah, I thought that would be good. Another pretty key aspect, I would say, of this downgrade would be the seizure support for seizures, I guess you could say. This was actually something that they had in Nostalgia, was the full screen flashes that would induce epilepsy. And when it came to making RetroMMO, I actually opted to remove them. I just wasn't that big of a fan, but when I was brainstorming like what are some ways I could downgrade the game pretty easily, I was like, oh shit, we just add that back. So we've got that. We do have a little bit of a warning, so it's not quite as bad as Nostalgia, but why have it at all? I mean, the answer to why have it at all is because, for my contract with my employer, but anyways, yeah, had to toss that one in. Once you get into the actual meat and potatoes of the game here, you'll immediately notice that both the graphics and the audio are just way worse all around. I went ahead and scrapped my entire team. Ryuzak is out, all the supporting artists are out, Ragchomp is out, all the supporting audio people are out. And what I did is I just took the assets that I had from RetroMMO and I showed them to people on Fiverr. And I was like, hey man, just recreate this from memory, for the graphics people. I was like, hey man, just put this on your second monitor for like 20 minutes, give it a good look. Just try and redraw some of this shit from memory. Same thing for the audio, essentially. And it's beautiful what they came up with. I could not be any. I mean, it's not beautiful, right? But it's beautiful in the sense that it's not beautiful, and I couldn't be any more satisfied with it. And it's really not. It's not even just as simple as like the assets are of lower quality, because there's also some small de-optimizations that only someone, you know, putting as much effort into the attention to detail as myself would come by. Such as, you know, when you walk around, you'll notice if you look at the character animation, when he walks to the right, his hair is synced up to his head. But when he walks to the left, the hair is desynced from the head animation. It's these little jank little things that we intentionally put in to make the game lower quality that you just won't see anywhere else. You just simply won't. It's, you know, case in point. I really don't mean to, you know, spend too much time on the same tangent, but I just can't praise these Fiverr artists enough. Like, when you look at something like this lighthouse that looks almost exactly pixel perfect to the old version of the lighthouse, but somehow still looks just a little bit worse, it's just exactly what I needed. It's exactly what I needed to be able to fulfill my contract with my employer. And likewise, you know, I know earlier I told you that the emote button over here had no functionality, but it actually just only sometimes has no functionality. Here it has functionality. And then you look at the emotes here, and you look at the emotes from the old version, and it's like they're just so, they look so close. They look so almost pixel perfect, yet still just worse. Like, I just, chef's kiss, you know. How grateful am I to have come across these Fiverr artists. God damn. Alright, you'll have to forgive me for this one, because I actually can't be bothered to play that far into the new version of the game, because it's just really not that fun compared to, you know, RetroMMO and its former glory. But I really just have to draw some attention to how masterful it is that we were able to transfer Big Gobble into its newer, lesser version. You know, you look at Big Gobble, it's good design for a boss. I was really proud of this, but we were able to just really degrade him into something much worse in a way that just makes me so happy, because and you'll have to forgive me, I have to show a blog post that we made for this one, because I can't be bothered to actually play through the game to show it. I just really don't feel like it. It's just really not that fun. But yeah, if you look at this new version here, this guy, this little fella here at the bottom, it's so good, because it's like not only does he look worse, he's also just like vaguely uncomfortably sexual in a way that makes the game inappropriate for children. And I really like that we took that further step, because we're talking about, like, my obligation here is to have the game not be a competitor. How is it going to be a competitor if the game's not, you know, suitable for children? I mean, at first glance, obviously we all saw here that, you know, he has his dick out. Like, bro just has his dick hanging down. But he's also grabbing his nipple as if that wasn't enough. It's just, I don't know. And, you know, it's subtle enough that, you know, maybe it wouldn't actually get into legal trouble, but it's not subtle enough that everybody understands that it's fucking disgusting. And man, we just really nailed it. We just really nailed it, man. So please appreciate it. All right, my pigeons. I could go on all day. You know, I could brag about this all day, about how I was just so eloquently and perfectly able to decrease the quality of my game in order to, you know, fulfill my contract and ultimately, you know, save RetroMMO from hiatus. But you know, I think I've shown you enough. You can just log into the game yourself if you want to see more. I mean, just look at it. You know, we don't even have battle backgrounds, man. And the UI is just weird. You know, it's just... I've shown you enough. I appreciate you taking the time to, you know, take a look at what I've come up with. And, yeah, long live RetroMMO. Thank you, my pigeons. I love you. One more thing before I go. I gotta give a big shout out to the sponsor of this video, Covalence. Covalence is a full-stack web development bootcamp, and it's actually where I learned programming. Covalence's goal is to bring you from zero experience to a career-ready software developer, and that's exactly what they did for me. If you're interested in getting into the software dev industry, I highly recommend you check them out. Links in the description. So once again, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.